he claims that
we had literally tens of millions of Americans whose data was stolen by a nefarious overseas actor, but it was entirely preventable. So to be responsible, we better learn from our mistakes so that it doesn't ever happen again. But it put a lot of people in peril. It really did.
our infrastructure for the power grid.
There was this mentality that if they were protecting the perimeter, anything that was going on inside must be just fine. But the problem is they had sort of leapfrogged or jumped past this wall and were on the inside with credentials that they really shouldn't have had. So with some basic hygiene, some good tools, an awareness, and some talent, they really could have prevented this. And that's what we try to draw out on this report, is that this didn't have to happen. And they were too swift to try to mislead Congress. They were too swift to try to cover it up. There was a situational awareness that I think they were denying themselves. Yeah. There are people that need to be held accountable because the first breach was unacceptable, but to not take it seriously, to mislead Congress, to delay the actions that would have prevented further loss, really put people in harm's way, because it went from affecting roughly 4 million to more than 20 million. And then you had additional information that was extracted, such as people's fingerprints and other really sensitive data, particularly for people who are dealing in very confidential, classified types of settings. Right after I was elected, but I wasn't even sworn in yet. I think a best practice is what does require some outside private sector support. To suggest that the federal government is going to lead the way, it's just not going to happen. It's just, let's be realistic about it. So they did have some outside tools that we were able to employ that eventually got this rooted out, I hope, but you're going to have to lean on these contractors as well. We had one of the most senior people from the NSA come and visit with us. You got to have good public people who are working, that have the best interests of the country at heart, but it can also use the best of tools to make sure that sensitive, personal, identifiable information is not given or allowed access into the hands of people who do harm and destruction to the United States. Already, these nefarious actors. This was a very extensive investigation, and despite all the problems, I do have hope that Beth Colbert, who is the new Office of Personnel Management Director, I think they've got the right person, and they're making some major changes. But unfortunately, you got tens of millions of people whose information is already gone, and there's no putting that genie back in the bottle.
All are very matter of fact that